Good to go. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the series finale of Might I Add, where we talk all things UCF sports. It has been awesome. We've talked everything from UCF cheerleading, UCF football, UCF men's and women's basketball, all sorts of sports. And it all leads to today, the series finale, where we will talk about all-time great UCF sports moments over the last 4 years. Joining me today are HTF and might I add legends Chris Wolf and Jeremy Brener. How are you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good today. I mean, it's kind of sad to see this be the end of Might I Add, but it had a great run. I've had fun on the show a lot.
Got the nitro with me. I'm ready to have some Might I Add fun today.
Really yes, looking sir. What's the number on that jersey?
16. This was 2016, I think, when I got it.
Okay. Yeah. So, trivia question for all of y'all by the end of the day. What jersey is that from? 2016, number 16. Who was that? See if anyone can figure that out by the end of this show. But anyways, we're going to get things started here. First things first, UCF Athletics. When Jeremy and I came to this campus the year before, football was 0-12, and all three of us leave this school with football in a drastically different position than when we got here. So, guys, you can talk football if you want, but I'm talking about UCF Athletics as a greater whole. How has this athletic program evolved in your time being here at UCF? Jeremy, we'll start with you.
Well, I remember when we came here, it wasn't just the football program that got a makeover. It was almost the entire athletic department. Not only did we have new coach Scott Frost, new coach Johnny Dawkins, new coach Katie Abrahamson-Henderson, my personal favorite, shout out Coach Abe. But we also had new tennis coach, I believe John Roddick is his name. I know it's Roddick. It's Andy Roddick's brother, who was the tennis coach. So it was. And then I believe Calabrese was also new that year as well. So it was a lot of, there was a total new era for UCF athletics starting when, Kyle and I came to school. And it happened to be the same year that Mackenzie Milton came to school. And obviously the football is the headliner for majority of, athletic departments across the country or a top 2, top 3 headliner. And it jolted this energy around campus. Falls around campus. I prefer the falls over the springs because the football team being here just it had a different atmosphere, and what it brought was just this camaraderie. It was super cool to see it go about. And then the basketball team's successes, obviously, that also played a big role. I remember my freshman year when the basketball team was making a deep NIT run and having Taco Fall on campus for 3 of these 4 years. It puts UCF on the map, and I think that is what makes me proud to be at night.
Chris, how about you?
When I first came on campus, it was 2017 in the fall. So, I mean, I was able to enjoy all those wins in a row. I was able to enjoy 25 straight wins by UCF. The first 25 football games, I was at this campus where we won, and I was like, I thought that was insane. Wow, I've never seen a loss. And then same with basketball too. I came on campus. They were getting better each year. They made it to the NIT Final Four, and then just last spring, made it to the NCAA tournament, got their first win. And I thought sports, and say with soccer got to the Sweet 16 just last fall. That was one of their best seasons, maybe one of their best seasons in school history. We had a lot of our volleyball team got an NCAA tournament win, I think, and FSU. So they were able to sports have just grown every year I've been at this school. Every year it gets better and better. and Danny White has this school on the map. Maybe not quite 25, but certainly like a top 40, I think. The top 40 program in the country.
Yeah, I would agree. Danny White has done an excellent job turning around not just the football program, but all of the programs in general. I'd like to add my 2 cents in this topic as well. When I got to UCF, like Jeremy said, there was a total overhaul, it felt, with the athletic department. And we look at, for example, he mentioned the NIT run for the basketball team. How often is it for a program and a fan base and a student body how often does that happen where they are thrilled and absolutely just going bonkers to be in the NIT Final Four, not NCAA Final Four, but the NIT Final Four? That's how much that sort of season meant, because that's the standard for where this program was before Danny got here. It was not a high standard for most sports, football being a minor exception. But then we get these new coaches. Coach A with women's basketball, the team continued to get better and better and better every single year she's been here. Basketball, obviously, eventually made that NCAA tournament appearance. Football with 2 undefeated regular seasons, 1 undefeated season in total. Volleyball, Chris, like you said, they won an NCAA tournament game. They hosted a regional one year in NCAA tournament. Baseball made the NCAA tournament. Baseball just swept Auburn in a series this year. Softball was going to probably host a regional in the postseason this year. It's incredible to see the growth and development of these sports programs, because before we got here, there wasn't a whole lot. And students that I knew in the past that came to UCF they were under this mindset. It's like, okay, I'm happy to trade away a good football team in order to have my great education. And now you don't have to make that trade, because we've got both. We've got great education and great sports. And that is what Danny White has been able to do with this program. And it's been exciting and fun to watch, and especially to be a part of. Which will take me to the next question. Guys, this is going to be a little bit more thought-provoking for each of you, but I want to hear your favorite game that you were able to attend, your favorite game that you weren't able to attend, and your all-time favorite memory here with the UCF Athletics. It doesn't have to be football. It can be whatever sport you want. Jeremy, we'll start with you again.
I think it's hard to say. I think I'll start with the easy one. I remember the Peach Bowl very well. I did not go to the Peach Bowl. I was at home in Houston watching the game with my dad. My dad was just there. He wasn't watching the game. He was just sitting in his chair. You can imagine like a dad in a living room just sitting. He doesn't care what's on TV. He'll just watch whatever it's on. And it was New Year's Day, so we watched Peach Bowl, and I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't expecting a win, and I think that is what made that game so special, is because we weren't expecting to win that game. I don't think. I mean, maybe you're like, oh, it'd be cool if we win this game, but it was Auburn, and Auburn had, been right there in the thick of things in the SEC that year, and the fact that we were able to do this, and that's really what put UCF, I think, into the conversation. It wasn't, and like, this is a tough one, because I also wasn't at the War on I-4 that year either. But that to me is a close second, because that game was again crazy. But and if you don't win the War on I-4, you don't get the Memphis game, which also a great game. That's a game that I went to. Probably not my number one favorite, but that was a game that I went to. And then you don't have the Peach Bowl either. So that game obviously has, and I'm sure if I went to the game, that game would easily be up there at number one. But for me, it was the Peach Bowl, just because, the national stage of it all. Yeah. And then I guess the favorite game that I went, it probably has to be that Memphis game. Now, because both of those Memphis games were a lot of fun. And I had 2 totally different experiences watching the game. So, like, the first Memphis game with Mackenzie, I was sitting in the south the South student section, and I was sitting way at the top because it was like 11 a.m. and I wasn't like dying to get to the game early or anything like that. But I got there and I was watching the game from like a bird's eye view. But with the second game, the Daryl Mack game, went to the nearby end zone, and because I think that first year with the Memphis game, the student section was only in that first section. I don't know. They expanded the student section at some point while we were here. I just forget when it was. But I was there that one year. But then the second year, I moved down closer when we came back against Memphis, and Daryl Mack had 6 touchdowns. But I watched the game with a lot of the hitting the field people that year. So that was a cool experience too. So if those are both 2 crazy different games, I'd probably have to go with the first Memphis game though, just because that was it was double overtime. It was we should not have won that game. I don't think we should have won the game. I think Memphis should have won.
No,
That all happened while we're here was incredible. And then I guess my favorite moment that I've covered was when UCF we beat. Man, I forget who it was. Was it Cincinnati when we were ranked? We were ranked at one.
Yeah, we knocked off Cincinnati. Yeah, that was right after
we beat Cincinnati at home while we were here. We beat them in our freshman year. I remember when we beat them our freshman year, and that was when we were unranked and we had no business beating them. But I remember that. I didn't go to that game. I was at home again, but I remember that. But that second game, I was there. I was covering it for Nightly News. And I stormed the court with everyone. I remember exactly what camera angle I got. I remember exactly the pandemonium of just crowding the student section while that was happening. I remember following the players, not knowing where to go and just, gut instincts. And that was a rush. And I think that to me was my favorite sports memory ever here because there was so much going on and there were so many moving parts and I was right in the middle of it. And that's a memory that is not going to leave me anytime soon. So is that a good enough answer for you, Partain?
I respect the heck out of that answer. That was a great one. And Chris, We'll see if you got anything that can compete with that, man. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. That's going to be so hard to compete with.
There's so much. I also left out. I left out so much. And here's one thing. I love covering women's basketball. Women's basketball is my favorite sport to cover all time. I don't football, basketball. No, I've covered men's football. I covered those. Women's basketball is my favorite sport to cover, and Coach Abe is my favorite UCF athletics person. I hope she's listening. I hope she's watching somewhere. Sorry, Coach Abe. But yeah, she was my favorite interview at UCF. But Chris, it's your time to take the floor. Please start talking because if you don't talk, I will. So please start talking.
Yeah, we don't want that, do we?
No, we don't.
So I'm going to start with my favorite moment that I didn't go to. And I think it is a little tough, but I'm probably going to lean toward the Peach Bowl because I, again, watched that at home with my parents. And that was my first semester here at UCF. So I was just now starting to get. This is when I started watching UCF football a lot more in sports. So I thought that was a great experience for us to actually be 13-0, be undefeated, and I had a lot of fun watching that game. On TV. I had fun watching football. Any doesn't matter what team. But I had so much fun watching that game. I was so excited when we won. I mean, but both Memphis games are close seconds. I actually did not attend either AAC championship. So both of those were very close behind. I ended up watching those on TV as well, and both games were so difficult to watch for at least part of the time. I mean, both games I thought we might not be able to pull it out, but we had magic. I mean, both quarterbacks had magical moments. I mean, McKenzie had an amazing game against Memphis. Daryl Mack, that might have been one of the best second half efforts I have seen in UCF history, in football history. So, but I mean, and now I'll move on to the one that the ones that I actually attended. It was March Madness as a whole. When I attended in last spring, that was probably one of my favorite experiences I've had. Especially, I mean, that was one of my best experiences I've had like ever. Like it was such a great environment. It was great to see. I mean, all these schools. I mean, seeing like, I mean, up close, I got to see two of the top three picks in the NBA draft as well with at Duke and Zion and RJ. I mean, I thought that was really cool, and it was also very cool to see us win a game for the first time in school history. We made history that year, and everyone was just like, "Oh, okay, we got a tournament win. We're playing Duke. I mean, we're not expecting much. A, a, a decent game, close game. That's all expecting." And I don't think any of us were expecting us to have a lead with under a minute to go in that game, and with like literally under like 30 seconds to go, we had a lead. And I'm just like, are we actually gonna pull this off? But then like just gravity not wanting to roll that ball in. It didn't want to roll in. It wanted to keep going straight and roll off. That was very hard to watch, but that was also one of my favorite moments too. Because I'm just like we're just this group of five school, and we haven't really we just got our first tournament win in school history. It's just like we're just that team, and we went toe to toe with potentially one of the greatest basketball programs in the country, and we just and maybe one of the best teams. I mean, that was just like that had first round picks all over it, and we went toe to toe with that team, and that was a great moment. I mean, obviously there were other great moments. I mean, being able to watch women's basketball make a tournament, win a school record in games. Our softball team was having a great season. Our baseball team was teetering like a top 10 team in the country. I thought that was like awesome to watch. But to be honest, the most fun I've had as well is volleyball. Volleyball is so fun to cover. That was one of my favorite sports to cover. The atmosphere was just so positive, and the atmosphere was so fun. It's just like I just had so much fun. Like that atmosphere was like you don't get that atmosphere with most of the sports.
Yeah, I agree. Volleyball was one of the most fun sports for me to cover, and I'm gonna again throw in my 2 cents on this whole thing. I was fortunate enough to have the privilege to work with UCF Athletics, so I got to attend almost every big game and be a part of every big game that happened. So I've got a lot of memories and a lot of games to sift through. So we'll try and get this started. But as far as favorite game that I did not go to, it has to be the Peach Bowl. That's the one major game that I was not able to attend. That was unbelievable. Y'all have said it time and time again. That was a game I didn't expect to win. I was perfectly happy with running the table in the regular season and winning the conference. And then I realistically, if we kept it within 10, I was happy because Auburn, had just knocked off Alabama. They were one of the best teams in the country, in my opinion, that season. Just unfortunate they had to play several other of the best teams in the country. So I was thrilled, and just I've never been so nervous in a football game than when Auburn was driving with under a minute to go in the fourth quarter, and we ended up, Shaquem with that pressure, and then I think it was Novell Clark who picked it off. But it was an unbelievable finish to an unbelievable season. It was Collier. Correct, Collier. Unbelievable finish to an unbelievable season. That is the greatest game that I was not able to attend. The other one that stands out to me is, Chris, as you said, the Duke basketball game. That's the other game that stands out to me that I was not able to go to. And I specifically remember how that game ended. I remember just I was convinced we were going to win when we were under a minute left, and when that layup, when that tip back did not roll in, you exhale a deep, disappointed sigh, and I just fell back into the chair, and it was, it took a while to recover, still recovering, but it was awesome. As far as favorite games that I was able to go to, this is probably the hardest one for me because I've been able to attend so many awesome games. I got to freshman year for basketball, UCF versus Cincinnati when we stormed the court. I was there for that. I stormed the court with the students. UCF versus Illinois in the NIT Elite Eight. I stormed the court with them for men's basketball. That was a blast.
That's my honorable mention.
Right? That was the only, to my knowledge, the only sellout. I guess it's Edition Financial Arena in history of that arena is that game right there. That's the only sellout in history. That was a blast. For basketball, that's about the extent of games that I've been to as far as just pure value to basketball. I'm going to throw in a volleyball one too, because volleyball, when we beat Cincinnati in the American Athletic Conference Championship this year, that was unbelievable to be there because we could not knock off Cincinnati during the regular season. We beat everyone else in the regular season in conference. We just could not find a way to knock off Cincinnati, and finally in the championship game, we beat them, sent us to the NCAA tournament, got a win. That was an awesome game. Football, I got to attend the Fiesta Bowl two seasons ago. Even though it was a loss to LSU, that was an unbelievable game to attend. That was so much fun. UCF versus Cincinnati with College Game Day. I'm surprised that didn't get an honorable mention. That was an unbelievable game. It was a blowout, but it was one of the most exciting and fun days of sports that I have ever experienced. And to me, that would probably go down as my second favorite because my favorite is indeed the War on I-4 right before the Memphis championship game and then Auburn. That game, to me, is the greatest game of football I've ever been able to attend. When we knock off USF, just the circumstances of that game. I mean, you really can't write a better script than the way that game went and ended. And Jeremy, like you said, if we don't win that game, that's the rest of the season. That was our playoffs. That was our playoffs right there. And that was unbelievable to attend. I will never forget it. My brother was at the game with me. That was just one of those games I will never forget. It was so much fun. And as far as memories, greatest memory, this is another tricky one. But I think the best memory that I've had with sports was in Connecticut. I got to travel with the UCF women's basketball team up to Connecticut for the conference tournament for 2 separate seasons, the last 2 seasons. That was really, really fun. I think the first time I went would be my favorite memory because I was on my own. I got to do, I had so many things I had to get done work-wise, and then the rest was just, it was a trip. And, we got to stay in a casino. That was awesome. The tournament was in a casino. So, and not only that, we ended up going to the championship that first season. Not almost, but we actually beat UConn in the second half. Now, we did end up losing by a significant margin, but we outscored UConn in the second half. And for women's basketball, that says a lot. So that whole tournament was, to me, the greatest memory that I will ever have with UCF sports. So those are my answers.
I think what's special about all of these, though, is the fact that, when you go, we didn't come to UCF because, oh, hey, it's a good sports college. Yeah, we're going to have great, Saturdays. If you go to Alabama, you're like, oh, I know I'm going to go see some good football while I'm here. If I go to Duke, I know I'm going to go see some good basketball while I'm here. We came to UCF in the surprise factor of it, I think, is a big part of why these are all so special, is because most of these moments should never have happened, that were not expected when we came here. And I think that was part of the joy and excitement of it all, is the fact that this is all so unexpected, unprecedented in UCS history. But when we came here, it happened. So there was no better time. There's no better time to be a Knight than these past 4 years. So I definitely don't take that for granted. And I'm sure as soon as we leave, we'll be back to 0-12.
It's funny you mentioned that. I wore a specific UCF polo for every single football game, and I wore it, or I forgot
We win
to bring
the
it. I honestly forgot to bring it to the Fiesta Bowl. I'm gonna say that right now. I honestly forgot to take it with me, and yeah. So to your point though, Jeremy, there hasn't been a better time to be at UCF, and it's really crazy to see how it's just changed over the last 4 years and in such a significant way so rapidly. Because again, I had friends that came here that said they were trading athletics for an education. You know, we don't have to make that option, or we don't have to make that decision now because you get both. And it's really been this kind of it's 4 years of athletics that I never would have expected, and I wouldn't trade for anything. So,
I agree.
Jeremy and Chris, I'm going to give you both your last thoughts here on what the future of UCF athletics looks like. And Jeremy, the floor is yours again, one last time.
Maybe I would have traded. Maybe I would have traded losing the Peach Bowl for winning the Duke. I don't know.
Really?
Maybe.
Oh,
It's a tough.
I don't know about that,
tough.
dude.
It is tough because
I'm cool with.
One Tiffin to go in.
I know, man. I'm cool with I'm cool with the undefeated football season.
Or to get blown out in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, there's
blown out in the Fiesta Bowl, and we win that. The Duke game. We win the Duke game. I think that people forget that would have been crazy. I don't think
I can't argue that.
We've been the best win.
I don't
in
think
school
it's
history.
Long-term effect like the winning the Peach Bowl did. Maybe I don't trade. I don't know. But
I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it, but I can see your points.
It would have been nice to win that game. Man, the future of UCF athletics. No, the program's in very good hands. Danny White is one of the best ADs in the country. He's done a fantastic job so far with the growth of the program. President Cartwright told us last week about how excited he is with the athletic program and how he hopes to continue to lead with that growth. Women's basketball is in very good hands now that UConn's no longer in the American. maybe we'll get a tournament bid this year through the conference tournament. But,
you can hope.
There were, and then the football team, obviously, I think 12-0, then 11, 12. I don't know. A lot of wins and very few losses in the last 3 seasons. Dylan Gabriel looks very exciting. Who knows if we'll see Mackenzie Milton again? I would certainly love to at least see him play a little bit in this upcoming season. Fans or no fans. I think that everything is going to change after the pandemic. I can't tell what is going to change or how it's going to change. I just know that it's going to. And to see, like, when we saw Cincinnati pull out of men's soccer, that was kind of a wake-up call that this could really have lasting effects. And it could turn into maybe UCF moving into a larger conference. And that could mean, huge things. Because I came to UCF, I didn't know about UCF until they won the Blake Bortles Peach Bowl. Because I'm not from Florida, so I don't know Florida schools like that. But that's where UCF was 6-7 years ago. Was they were a nobody, and then they won one football game, and it brought me to UCF. I'm not going to say that's the reason why I'm at UCF, but got it in the head and started turning the wheels. So that's the importance and the impact of athletics. Is it puts your school on a stage to where people can, get to learn more about the university and the opportunities that it can provide. So that's why the athletics program is super important, not just at UCF, but everywhere. And I hope that the athletics program continues to thrive and build off of what they've had this past 4 years, because it's been the best, in my opinion, it's the best 4-year stretch in athletics history. And I don't think that people can dispute that fact.
I agree.
I agree with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think? It is a fact.
I think it's in great hands. I mean, think about just about every sport at this school has been ranked since we've been here. Like, we've been in the top 25 in every sport. Just close to. I mean, That's all. That's all I gotta say. I mean, we're up there with these power conferences, and what we've proven I think this last year is that we're not just football. That's what makes the whole athletic department really good. Is like basketball competed with high end teams, and they were ranked. You had women's basketball that was really good, the second best team in the American with UConn after UConn. You had men's soccer that was top 10 team in the country this last season. Volleyball got in the NCAA tournament and got a win against the Power 5 team in FSU, an in-state team. So and then you have baseball getting a sweep against a really good Auburn team. You have softball, like that was playing extremely well and actually got some good wins early this year. Got a good win against Michigan, like out in California. So I think we're in great hands, and same with Jeremy. Like I did not know much about UCF until that year they won the Fiesta. They beat Baylor because I mean that was also my sister's freshman year here. That was her first semester on campus, which I find that really funny. That her first semester on campus, we won a BCS / New Year's Six game. My first semester on campus, we won a New Year's Six game.
Oh, that's the key right there.
So, I mean, hey, do I have another family member that's coming on campus in the fall? Maybe we'll win another one.
Hey, who knows, man? But anyways, guys, I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to be able to do this. I know it's not ideal. We're not in the studio, but it's been a blast being on call with both of you guys. And you two have probably been two of the biggest icons on Might I Add since its induction 2 seasons ago. So, again, thanks so much for joining me today, guys. Your input is always valuable. And, guys, everyone watching, thank you so much for sticking with Might I Add for these 2 seasons. It has been a blast to be able to cover UCF sports with all of you. And I'll just end it with one thing. Might I conclude? It's been a great show. See you later, guys.
Johnny Jackson reboot it.